everybody. My name is Bhavani and I'm the director of Nature Nudge. We are a local Singapore company and we make fresh fermented probiotic drinks and foods for you. They are all artisanal crafted and manufactured right here. One of the things that we have been doing is to create a series of talks on why probiotics are so essential for our health. In the first session, we talked about how we do not have much interaction with nature anymore. We have too many more C-section births. These issues cause absence of good bacteria on a regular basis for us. The second session was all about how there is a condition called leaky gut and many of us have it. We do not even realize it. It shows up as autoimmune disorders in our bodies and we need to start addressing it by putting in good bacteria and keeping the bad bacteria in check. So now this third session is about why do we use fermented foods, and really the source of good bacteria can be only two. One is probiotics and the second is fresh fermented foods. Now when you probiotic pills is what I mean. When you look at probiotic pills, the body understands when it is eating a pill versus when it is eating a food. So for an example, if we had all our nutritional needs met in one pill and we did not have to eat anything else the rest of the day, would many of us be satisfied with that? And I think the answer would very much be no. So let us now consider why we should consider pills. There are times when we would be traveling, or there are times when we have a specific ailment and we do require a specific strain of bacteria to address our issues. Now in those cases, pills are absolutely relevant and the most useful thing for us. These are probiotic pills that one can get at regular pharmacies or you can get them at many health stores. However, now let's look at the other side. If we could incorporate fresh fermented foods, which are in the form of drinks or in the form of fermented vegetables or salads, into our regular diet, our body would understand the difference between a pill and a food and really start incorporating this good bacteria on a regular basis. But beyond this, there are three very critical benefits of fresh fermented foods which are not existing in a pill. Okay, the first one is that when we ferment foods, the vitamins and minerals that are present in that food dramatically increase in their bioavailability. So for an example, if you take a piece of beetroot and you take a piece of fermented beetroot, the difference in their iron levels is almost 58 times because it is far more bioavailable to you and your body can absorb it easily. That's what it means. Okay, so if you take a piece of, same thing for pineapple, you take a piece of pineapple which has very high in manganese and you ferment it, the amount of manganese you get out of the fermented pineapple is dramatically much higher. Okay, so you look at a lot of minerals and vitamins which are present in natural foods, their bioavailability increases. That is the first and the most important benefit of fermentation. The second most important benefit is the fact that these bacteria, when they start working on these foods and eating up the sugars in those foods and multiplying, they create enzymes. Now our body needs enzymes. Many times we have to produce those enzymes ourselves, and those enzymes are not always, and our body functions always do not allow enough enzymes to be produced. So getting these enzymes from bacteria and externally fermented bacteria is a great way to go. Now bacteria inside our gut also produces those kinds of enzymes. By putting in the bacteria so that they can continue the work inside is great for us. Maybe we will record another session where we get into understanding what are enzymes, what are the benefits that they provide to our body, but let's park that for another time. So I talked about two things till now. The first one was that the bioavailability of vitamins and minerals pops up dramatically with fermentation. The second thing we talked about was that we get a lot of enzymes when we eat fermented foods. The third that I would like to talk about is of course the presence of bacteria, the good bacteria. Now when we eat pills as an example, we get specific cultured bacteria which are cultured in laboratories, specific strains. However, with fresh fermented foods which do not have an external cultivar but are wild fermented, you get a huge diversity of bacteria, and so diversity is taken care of. You get different strains into your body, you get endless counts of bacteria, and because they are fresh fermented, they are alive. There is no problem of reactivating them. There is no problem of saying whether they will be able to be absorbed in our body or not. And those are the key benefits of fresh fermented foods. So I'd like you to keep these three things in mind, okay? In mind. Now, how do we get fresh fermented foods? What are fresh fermented foods? They could be things like which are cooked, or uncooked fresh fermented foods. So some examples of cooked fermented foods are things like idli, dosas, Ethiopian injera, natto. These are cooked fresh fermented foods. On the other hand, there are lots of raw fresh fermented foods, things like sauerkrauts, kimchi, things like the products and the drinks that we make. Yogurt is another fresh fermented food. Beet kvass. Well, these are some, these are tempeh. These are great examples of fresh fermented foods. Now, what happens is that what is the difference between cooked and the uncooked in terms of their benefits? The only key difference is that the probiotic benefit of fermented foods goes away when you introduce heat into the process. So you get the enzymatic benefits, you get the increased vitamins and minerals, but you lose the benefit of probiotics. So that is the critical difference, and the way therefore to go forward, if at all, if possible, is to keep fresh fermented foods as far as possible raw. And if not, of course, you still continue eating them in the cooked form, but raw is better for you. So we'll go forward in the next session, and we'll meet you again and talk about further details about different products and how to incorporate them into your life.